Hey, what's going on guys? You're watching Pocketable Tech, and today we're going to be taking a look at two of the tiniest action cameras currently available on the market. Both share the same squared off, small form factor, but they do not share the same price tag. So let's delve into this review and take a look at both the pros and the cons, as well as look at the similarities between both of these devices, so that way you can make an informed decision on which device is worth your hard-earned cash. So let's start with one of the biggest selling points of both of these cameras, and that is the form factor. As mentioned before, these are two of the tiniest action cameras currently available on the market. The Polaroid Cube was the first to introduce this completely squared off design, and the GoPro Hero 4 Session followed soon after. But there are some significant differences in build quality. For one, the Polaroid Cube sports a completely rubberized body, which offers a nice amount of grip, as well as a nice amount of impact resistance if dropped. And it's also splash proof, which means you don't have to necessarily worry about getting it wet if you wanted to, say, record in the rain or something. The GoPro Session ups the Polaroid Cube slightly in that it's actually waterproof and can be immersed 33 feet underneath water without any additional housing, which is kinda cool. That being said, Polaroid does offer an additional waterproof case for $40 extra that matches the waterproof rating of the Session, and having tried the waterproof case as well, it works just like a waterproof case should. As of right now, the Hero 4 Session comes in just black, whereas the Polaroid Cube is available in a bevy of different colors. Everything from black, light blue, red, and even hot pink and glow-in-the-dark green are soon to become available. Lastly, the Polaroid Cube sports a magnetic piece at the bottom of the device, which in theory seems like it'd be a useful feature, but in reality, I didn't find myself attaching it to many things via the magnet. I was going to attach it to the hood of my car, but didn't for fear that it would disconnect, since the magnet isn't the strongest. And two, there weren't many things around that the Cube could magnetize to. So again, I guess having the magnetic bottom is kind of a cool feature if you can find things to stick it to, but it more or less might render on the useless side if your scenario isn't ideal. Operating both of these action cameras is about as simple as pressing a button, and I mean that quite literally. Both devices use a single circular button which is located on the top of the device, which controls powering on and off the device, recording video, and snapping pictures. It's an intuitive design given the small form factor, and it works quite well. There are some slight differences in regards to operation that should be noted. For example, the Hero 4 Session works by simply pressing the circular button once, which will power on the camera and will automatically begin recording. The Polaroid Cube, on the other hand, requires you to long press the circular button first to power on the camera, and then you tap the button once to take a picture, or tap the button twice to start recording. So the Session is going to power on and get recording much quicker than the Cube, but the Cube will be less likely to accidentally start recording when in your pocket due to its safety startup feature. Because both of these devices are so damn small, don't expect an LCD display. But to be quite honest, I personally don't think having an LCD display on an action camera is even necessary to begin with. Since the video capture on these cameras are so wide, all you really have to do is somewhat point it in the general direction of what you're trying to record, and you're bound to get it in the shot. Besides, LCDs require more power, and being how small these action cameras already are, that's one less thing you have to worry about consuming your battery. On the topic of battery life, both sport very similar battery capacities and can go the distance, which I was quite surprised to find out. You're looking at about 90 minutes of continuous recording time on each device, which when looking at their size is quite impressive. The battery on both units are sadly embedded, and that's one thing I hope is changed in future iterations, cause it would be nice to have extra batteries to change out when on the go. The GoPro Session is Wi-Fi enabled, which means you'll be able to conveniently connect it to your smartphone or tablet, and that's also the way you will tweak the internal settings of the camera, such as changing the video resolution and adjusting your time-lapse settings. Having Wi-Fi connectivity also means that you'll be able to easily transfer over the photos and videos you've taken on the Session straight to your smartphone or tablet wirelessly. The original Polaroid Cube that I'm comparing in this video doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi, but it does have a small hidden switch on the unit itself that allows you to switch the recording resolution from 720p to 1080p. And there is also a computer program you can download that will allow you to further tweak the settings on the Cube. Polaroid is set to release the Cube Plus, which to my understanding is almost identical to the original Cube, but with Wi-Fi connectivity. And if you're leaning towards picking up the Polaroid Cube, I'd wait for the Cube Plus, since it's only going to be $30 more than the original Cube. Video capture maxes out at a resolution of 1080p on both devices. The Session does have an option to shoot at a slightly higher 1440p resolution, but then the aspect ratio is reduced down to a 4:3, which isn't ideal for video. When looking at video samples from both cameras, the video quality is very similar. Neither of them are super sharp or anything overly impressive. That's not to say that the video capture is bad. and from the samples I'm showing you right now, I'll let you guys decide which picture you prefer more. Still images should be a little sharper on the GoPro Session due to the 8 megapixel lens compared to the Cube's 6 megapixel lens, but again, I don't really see much difference. Audio quality is a bit better on the Sessions due to the dual microphones, which are wisely located on the front and back of the device, which will also help reduce wind noise. That being said, both devices have mono microphones, and in general the audio capture is subpar compared to the other action cameras on the market. So both cameras performed relatively well with decent to good video capture given their limited specifications. What this review really comes down to, and the deciding factor of which one to buy for me at least, is determined by the price point. At $399, the GoPro Session is aspiring to be much more than it actually is. At the $390 price point, you can pick up the GoPro Hero 4 Silver Edition and even have extra money to buy a microSD card, and not to mention you'll be getting a device that can capture much better video quality. So then what's the point of spending the same amount of money on the GoPro Hero 4 Session? Form factor? If the form factor is your biggest deciding factor, then the Polaroid Cube for just $99 is the way to go. It's the same dimensions as the Session, and it's on par to the GoPro Session in almost all aspects. The only real advantages that I can see that the GoPro Session has over the Polaroid Cube is that it's waterproof without the need for an external case, it has more video recording frame rate options, and it can support up to a 64GB microSD card. That being said, I still don't think these features are worth the $399 price tag, nor is the price justified by the video and picture quality that is being produced. Anyway guys, that's going to do it for this review. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, since it really does help out the channel. And also in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts are on both of these action cameras, or just your thoughts on action cameras in general. Do you have one? Would you buy one? And if so, which one would you buy? Look forward to hearing from you guys in the comments below, and as always, be safe, stay healthy, and I will see you in the next video.